There is a scary reality about your business. You started it to gain freedom, but now you are more trapped than you ever were in your job. You work longer hours, you earn less money per hour. You cannot take a vacation, you cannot get sick. The moment you stop working, everything stops. You are not a business owner. You own a job, and it is the worst job you ever had. This happens to 95% of small business owners. You are not alone. You are not failing because you lack talent or work ethic. You are failing because of something much deeper. There is a hidden conflict inside your business. There is a war happening that you cannot see. And it is a war you cannot win unless you understand what is really happening. In this essay, I will explain the ideas from one of the most important business books ever written. It is called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. This book has changed millions of businesses. It reveals why most small businesses fail. More importantly, it shows you exactly how to build a business that can run without you. A business that works like a Swiss watch. A business where you can leave for 3 months and come back to find it running better than before. Let me explain the fatal assumption that is destroying your business right now. Part 1, the fatal assumption. You believed a lie. It is the most dangerous lie in business. It goes like this. If you understand the technical work of a business, you understand a business that does that technical work. This is completely wrong. But almost everyone believes it. Here is how it happens. You are good at something. Maybe you are a great baker. Maybe you are an excellent plumber. Maybe you know how to fix cars better than anyone else. People compliment your work. They say you should start your own business. You agree. You think if I am this good at baking, I will be great at running a bakery. So you start your business. In the beginning, it feels amazing. You are free. You are your own boss. You work on things you love. You have no manager telling you what to do. This is the dream you always wanted. Then something changes. The phone starts ringing more. Customers want more of your time. You need to order supplies, you need to pay bills, you need to do the accounting, you need to market your business. Suddenly you are not just baking anymore, you are answering emails at midnight, you are fixing broken equipment on Sunday. You tell yourself this is temporary. You tell yourself once the business grows, it will get easier. But the opposite happens. The more the business grows, the more trapped you become. You cannot hire anyone because no one does the work as well as you do. You cannot take time off because everything depends on you. You wake up one day and realize you did not start a business. You created a prison, and you are both the prisoner and the guard. This is what Michael Gerber calls the fatal assumption. The assumption is that knowing how to do the technical work means you know how to build a business. A great surgeon does not automatically know how to run a hospital. A talented musician does not automatically know how to run a record label. Being good at the work and being good at building a business are two completely different skills. Most business owners never learn this lesson. They work harder and harder, they burn out, they close the business, they blame the economy or bad luck or difficult customers. But the real problem was the fatal assumption from day one. Here is the thing. Inside every business owner, there are 3 different people fighting for control. Until you understand these 3 people, you will never build a business that works without you. Let me explain who these 3 people are. Part 2, the 3 people inside you. Imagine you are standing in front of 3 doors. Behind each door is a different version of you. Each version wants to run your business in a completely different way. Each version has different goals. Each version thinks the other 2 are idiots. This is not a metaphor. This is what is actually happening inside your head every single day. The first person is called the technician. The technician is the part of you that loves to do the work. The technician is the baker who wants to bake. The plumber who wants to fix pipes. The designer who wants to design. The technician wakes up and thinks about how to make the product better. The technician believes in hard work and craftsmanship. The technician says, if I just work harder, everything will be fine. The technician lives in the present. The technician does not care about next year. The technician cares about today. The technician wants to roll up the sleeves and get things done. The technician hates planning. The technician hates systems. The technician hates paperwork. The technician just wants to work. Second person is called the manager. The manager is the part of you that wants order. The manager wakes up and sees chaos everywhere. The manager wants to organize everything. The manager wants to schedules and processes and predictability. The manager creates the checklist. The manager wants everything to run smoothly, without surprises. The manager lives in the past. The manager looks at what worked before and wants to repeat it. The manager does not like change. The manager does not like risk. The manager wants to build walls and create safety. The manager says we need systems, we need structure, we need control. The third person is called the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is the dreamer. The entrepreneur is the part of you that started the business in the first place. The entrepreneur sees the future. The entrepreneur sees opportunities everywhere. The entrepreneur wants to grow and expand and try new things. The entrepreneur gets excited about possibilities. The entrepreneur lives in the future. The entrepreneur does not care about today's problems. The entrepreneur is already thinking about next year. The entrepreneur wants to innovate and disrupt and change everything. The entrepreneur says we need to think bigger, we need to scale, We need to transform. Now here is the problem. These three people are at war. The entrepreneur comes up with a big new idea. The manager immediately says, no, that is too risky. We need to focus on what we have. The technician says, stop bothering me with your ideas. I have work to do. The manager creates a new process. The technician says, this is bureaucratic nonsense. Just let me work. The entrepreneur says this process will limit our growth. They are constantly fighting. And here's the scary part. In most small businesses, the technician wins. The technician takes over completely. The entrepreneur who started the business gets locked in the closet. The manager gets ignored. And the business becomes nothing more than a job. Michael Gerber says that the typical small business owner is 10% entrepreneur, 20% manager, and 70% technician. This is the exact opposite of what you need. To build a business that runs without you, you need to flip this ratio completely. You need the entrepreneur to lead. You need the manager to create the systems. And you need the technician to work inside those systems, not control everything. This is why you feel exhausted. The technician inside you is doing everything. The technician is answering phones and doing the work and fixing problems and serving customers. Meanwhile, the entrepreneur is screaming to get out. The entrepreneur has big dreams, but no voice. The manager is trying to create order, but gets overruled every time. The solution is not to work harder. The solution is to completely change how you think about your business. You need to stop thinking like a technician and start thinking like an entrepreneur building a system. Let me explain what this means. Part 3, your business is not your life. Here is a question that will change everything. What is the purpose of your business? Stop for a moment and think about your answer. Most people say things like to provide great service or to make quality products or to serve my customers. These answers are completely wrong. The purpose of your business is not to serve customers. The purpose of your business is to serve your life. Your business is a tool. It is a vehicle. It is a vehicle. It is a means to an end. The end is your life, the life you want to live, the freedom you want to have, the time you want to spend with people you love. Michael Gerber says most business owners have this backwards. They sacrifice their life for their business. They work 80 hours a week. They miss their children growing up. They damage their health. They destroy their relationships. All for the business. But the business was supposed to serve them, not enslave them. This is like buying a car to drive to beautiful places, but then spending all your time in the garage repairing the car. You never actually go anywhere. You just work on the car endlessly. The car becomes the purpose instead of the tool. This is insane, but this is exactly what most business owners do. So the first step to building a business that runs without you is to get clear on what you actually want. What kind of life do you want? How many hours do you want to work per week? How much money do you need to live the way you want? What does freedom look like for you? Write this down. Be specific. This becomes your target. Once you have this target, everything changes. Now your business has a clear purpose. The purpose is to create that life for you. Every decision you make gets filtered through this question. Does this move me closer to the life I want or further away? If you are working more hours than you want, something is wrong. If you cannot take a vacation, something is wrong. The business is failing its purpose. Here is the problem. You cannot build this kind of business by just working in it. You have to work on it, and working on your business requires a completely different mindset. It requires you to think of your business as a product, not a place where you work. A product that you are building. Let me explain this critical distinction. Part 4, turn your business into a product. Imagine you walk into a McDonald's in Tokyo. You order a Big Mac. Then you walk into a McDonald's in Paris. You order another Big Mac. Then you walk into a McDonald's in New York. You order a third Big Mac. What do you notice? They taste exactly the same. The packaging looks the same. The service feels the same. This is not an accident. This is the result of treating the business as a product. McDonald's is not in the hamburger business. McDonald's is in the business of creating a system that produces identical hamburgers anywhere in the world. The business itself is the product. The system is what they sell to franchisees. Now think about your business. If you opened a second location tomorrow, would it run exactly like the first one? If you hired someone to replace you, could they deliver the same quality? If you took a 3-month vacation, would customers even notice you were gone? For most small businesses, the answer is no. And that is the problem. Michael Gerber says, you need to build your business as if you were going to franchise it. Even if you never actually franchise it, you need to think this way. Because franchising forces you to create a system that works without you, a system that anyone can follow, a system that produces consistent results every single time. This is what it means to work on your business instead of in your business. Working in your business means you are the baker baking the bread. Working on your business means you are creating the recipe, the process, the system that allows any baker to bake that bread exactly the same way you do. Here's the thing. Most technicians hate this idea. The technician says, but I am special. My personal touch is what makes this business great. Customers come here for me. This is the technician's ego talking. And this ego is the prison. As long as you believe only you can do the work, you will always be stuck. doing the work. The truth is, customers do not come for you. They come for the result. They come for the experience. They come because your business solves their problem. If you can create a system that delivers that same result without you, customers will be just as happy. Actually, they will be happier because the system will be more reliable than you. The system does not get tired. The system does not have bad days. The system does not take vacations. How do you build this system? How do you turn your business into a product? This is where the manager inside you needs to take control. This is where you create what Gerber calls the operations manual. Let me explain how this works. Part 5. Document everything. Imagine you are writing a cookbook, not a cookbook for professional chefs. A cookbook for someone who has never cooked before. Every recipe needs to be so clear, so detailed, so step-by-step, that even a child could follow it and create the exact same dish every time. This is exactly what you need to do for every single task in your business. Start by making a list of every job that happens in your business. Every single task, customer service, inventory management, opening procedures, closing procedures, how to answer the phone, how to greet a customer, how to clean the workspace. Everything. Then for each task, you write down exactly how it should be done, not how you think it should be done. Exactly how it is done to produce the result you want. This becomes your operations manual. This is the instruction book for your business. This is what allows someone else to step in and run things exactly the way you would. The technician inside you is screaming right now. The technician says, "This will take forever. I do not have time for this. I need to work." This is the technician trying to stay in control. This is the technician defending the prison. Do not listen. Creating these systems is the only way out. Here is how to make this easier. Do not try to document everything at once. Start with one task. Pick the task that you do most frequently. Write down every single step. Be absurdly detailed. Assume the person reading this has never done anything like this before. Use simple language. Add pictures if it helps. Make it so clear that you could hand it to a stranger and they could do the task perfectly. Then test it. Give the document to someone else. Watch them follow the steps. See where they get confused. See where they make mistakes. Then update the document to fix those gaps. Keep refining until someone else can do the task exactly as well as you can. Now you have your first system. Repeat this process for every task in your business. One task at a time, one system at a time. This will take months, maybe years. But here is what happens as you do this. Slowly, task by task, you become less necessary. Slowly, your business starts to run without you. Slowly, you move from being a technician trapped in the work to being an entrepreneur who owns a system. But documentation is only half the battle. You also need to make sure people actually follow these systems. This is where most businesses fail. They create the manual, they put it on a shelf, and then everyone keeps doing things their own way. You need to build a culture where the system is sacred. Let me explain how. Part 6. The system is the boss. Here's a common problem. You hire someone, you train them, you show them your documented process. They nod and smile. Then they go do the job their own way. They think their way is better, or easier or faster. And slowly your system falls apart. Different employees do things differently. Quality becomes inconsistent. Customers have different experiences. You are back to chaos. Michael Gerber has a solution for this. He says the system must be the boss. Not you, not the employee. The system. Everyone follows the system. No exceptions. No personal interpretations. No shortcuts. The system is law. This sounds harsh. The technician inside you might resist. The technician likes flexibility. The technician likes to improvise. But here's the truth. Freedom comes from discipline. A business that runs without you requires extreme discipline. Everyone must follow the same playbook. Otherwise, you just have multiple technicians doing their own thing. Think about an orchestra. Every musician is talented. Every musician could play the piece their own way. But if everyone played their own interpretation, it would sound terrible. The orchestra works because everyone follows the same sheet music. Everyone plays their part exactly as written. The conductor does not need to be talented at every instrument. The conductor just needs to make sure everyone follows the system. Your business is the same. You are the conductor. Your employees are the musicians. The operations manual is the sheet music. Your job is not to do every task yourself. Your job is to make sure the system is being followed. But how do you make people follow the system? You cannot stand over them every second watching. That defeats the whole purpose. You need a way to ensure compliance without micromanaging. This is where you create what Gerber calls the accountability structure. Let me explain this concept. Part 7, build accountability into the system. Here is how accountability works in most small businesses. The owner watches employees, the owner catches mistakes, the owner corrects them, the owner gets frustrated, the owner decides it is easier to just do everything themselves. This is the technician trap. Again, this does not scale. This keeps you stuck. Instead, you need to build accountability into the system itself. You need mechanisms that automatically check if the system is being followed. These are not about catching people making mistakes. These are about making it impossible to complete a task without following every step. For example, imagine you run a coffee shop. You have a system for opening the store every morning. The system has 20 steps. How do you know your employee did all 20 steps? You create a checklist. The employee cannot start serving customers until every box on the checklist is checked. The checklist is right there at the counter. The manager reviews it every day. If a box is not checked, the store does not open. Or imagine you have a system for answering customer emails. The system says every email must be answered within 4 hours. Every email must include 3 specific elements. How do you know this is happening? You create a tracking sheet. Every email goes on the sheet. The time it was received, the time it was answered, the employee who answered it. At the end of each week, you review the sheet and you can see immediately if the system is being followed. These accountability mechanisms do 3 things. First, they remove the need for you to micromanage. The system checks itself. Second, they create transparency. Everyone can see if standards are being met. Third, they create data. You can track performance over time. You can identify patterns. You can improve the system based on real information. But here is the key. These mechanisms only work if there are consequences. If someone does not follow the system, something must happen. Not punishment, not anger, just a calm conversation about the importance of the system. And if they continue to not follow it, they cannot stay. This sounds harsh, but protecting the system is protecting the business. And protecting the business is protecting your freedom. The technician inside you will resist this too. The technician does not like rules. The technician does not like enforcement. The technician wants everyone to just do their best and hope it works out. But hope is not a strategy. Systems are a strategy. And systems require accountability. Now let me address the biggest objection. You might be thinking this sounds robotic. This sounds like it removes all creativity and humanity from the business. This sounds like turning people into machines. Let me explain why this is not true. Part 8, systems create freedom, not robots. There is a myth about systems. The myth says systems kill creativity. Systems make work boring. Systems turn people into mindless robots. This is completely backwards. The opposite is true. Systems create freedom. Systems create space for creativity. Imagine you are a jazz musician. Jazz is all about improvisation, right? Jazz is about freedom and expression. But here's what most people do not understand. Jazz musicians practice scales for thousands of hours. They learn music theory inside and out. They study the masters. They build a foundation of technical skill. Only then can they truly improvise. The freedom comes from the structure. Your business is the same. The system handles the basics. The system makes sure the fundamentals always happen correctly. This frees up mental energy. This frees up time. Now your employees can focus on the things that actually require creativity, like solving unique customer problems, like improving the customer experience, like coming up with new ideas. Without systems, everyone is always in chaos. Everyone is always firefighting. Everyone is always stressed about getting the basics right. There is no space for creative because all the energy goes to survival. With systems, the basics are handled. Now there is space to breathe, space to think, space to create. Here is another way to think about it. Imagine you are driving a car. The car has systems. The steering system, the braking system, the engine system. These systems work automatically. You do not think about them. This frees you to think about where you want to go. You can enjoy the scenery. You can have a conversation. You can listen to music. The systems handle the complexity so you can focus on the destination. Your business needs to work the same way. The systems handle the operational complexity. This frees you to focus on strategy, on growth, on innovation, on building relationships, on actually living your life. This is the whole point. But building these systems takes time. It takes patience. It takes discipline. Most business owners never do it. They stay trapped because the work of building systems feels harder than just doing the work. This is the technician's short-term thinking. The technician only sees today. The entrepreneur sees years from now. Let me show you how to actually start building this. Part 9. Start with the prototype. Michael Gerber says you need to build what he calls the prototype. The prototype is your first location or your current operation run exactly the way you want every future operation to run. The prototype, your proof of concept. Here is how you build it. First, you step back and look at your business as if you are a customer. Walk through the entire customer experience from start to finish. What do they see? What do they hear? What do they feel? What do they smell? What is every single touch point? Write all of this down. Then you ask yourself, what do I want each of these touch points to be? How do I want customers to feel when they walk in? What words do I want employees to use when they greet someone? What should the workspace look like? What music should be playing? What should the lighting be? Every detail matters. Every detail is a choice. Every choice is part of the system. Most business owners never think about this. They just let things happen organically. The workspace looks however it ended up looking. Employees say whatever comes to mind, the experience is random. This is leaving your business to chance. The prototype is about taking control, about designing the experience. Once you know what you want, you start documenting how to create it. You write the systems that make that experience happen every single time. The greeting system, the service system, the quality control system, and the problem resolution system. Everything you test these systems, you refine them, you improve them until they work perfectly. And here's the critical part. You run your current business using only these systems. You do not allow any deviation. You do not allow any improvisation. You follow the system religiously. This does two things. First, it tests if the systems actually work. Second, it proves that the business can run on systems instead of on you. This phase is hard. The technician will fight you every step. The technician will want to make exceptions. The technician will want to do things the old way. You must resist. You must stay disciplined. Because once you have a working prototype, everything changes. Now you have a business that is ready to scale. A business that is ready to run without you. But scaling is not about getting bigger. Scaling is about replication. Let me explain what this means. Part 10, replication is the key. Here is what most people think growth means. Growth means more customers, more revenue, more locations, more employees. Bigger, bigger, bigger. But this is the technician's version of growth. The technician thinks more work equals more success. This is wrong. Real growth is not about doing more. Real growth is about replicating what works. Think about McDonald's again. They did not grow by having Ray Kroc work harder. They grew by taking the system that worked in one location and copying it exactly in another location, then another, then another, then another. This is only possible if you have systems. Without systems, every new location is a new experiment. Every new employee is a gamble. Every new customer is unpredictable. You are constantly reinventing the wheel. You are constantly firefighting. Growth becomes overwhelming. You are working more hours than ever. With systems, growth becomes simple. Not easy, simple. You take the operations manual. You follow it in the new location. You train new employees using the documented processes. You use the same accountability mechanisms. You replicate the prototype. The new location works exactly like the first. You can manage both without working more hours because you are not managing tasks. You are managing systems. But here is the beautiful part. You do not even need to grow to benefit from this. Even if you only have one location, even if you never want to expand, building the prototype frees you. Because once your business runs on systems, you can step away. You can take that 3-month vacation. You can work 20 hours a week instead of 80. You can spend time with your family. You can pursue other interests. The business serves your life instead of consuming it. This is what Michael Gerber means when he talks about building a business that works. Not a business that requires you. A business that is a tool for your life. A business that runs like a machine. Let me give you the exact steps to make this happen. Part 11. The implementation plan. You cannot build this overnight. This is a long-term project. But every journey starts with a single step. Here is exactly what you need to do. Step 1 is to define your primary aim. This is not your business goal. This is your life goal. What kind of life do you want to live? How do you want to spend your days? What matters most to you? Write this down with extreme clarity. This becomes your North Star. Every business decision gets measured against this primary aim. Step 2 is to define your strategic objective. This is what your business needs to look like to serve your primary aim. How much revenue does it need to generate? How much profit? How many hours per week do you need to work in it? What does it look like when it is finished? Again, be specific. Write it down. Step 3 is to start documenting. Pick the task you do most often. Write down every step. Make it so detailed that anyone could follow it. Test it with someone else. Refine it. Now you have one system. Do this for the next task. Then the next. Then the next. Do not rush. One system per week is 52 systems per year. That is probably enough to cover most of your business. Step 4 is to create accountability mechanisms. For each system, build in a way to check if it is being followed. Checklists, tracking sheets, quality checks, whatever makes sense for that system. The mechanism should make it obvious whether standards are being met. Step 5 is to train your team on the systems. Do not just hand them the manual. Walk them through it. Show them why each step matters. Show them how it all fits together. Make them practice. Watch them do it. Give feedback. Keep training until they can do it perfectly without your help. Step 6 is to enforce the system. This is where most business owners fail. They create the systems, they train people, but then they let people do their own thing anyway. You cannot do this. The system must be followed. Every time, no exceptions. If someone cannot or will not follow the system, they are not right for your business. Step 7 is to improve the system. Systems are not set in stone. They should evolve. But they should evolve deliberately, not randomly. When you identify a better way to do something, you update the manual, you train everyone on the update, everyone switches to the new way at the same time. Step 8 is to test your freedom. Once you have systems for the major functions of your business, take a week off. Do not check email. Do not call in. Let the systems run, see what happens. When you come back, review what worked and what did not. Fix the gaps. Then take 2 weeks off. Then a month. Keep testing until you can be gone for 3 months and the business runs perfectly. This is the path. This is how you build a business that works without you. It is simple, but it is not easy. It requires patience. It requires discipline. It requires you to think like an entrepreneur instead of a technician. Let me talk about the final piece, the mindset shift that makes all of this possible. Part 12, the mindset revolution. Everything I have explained is useless. Without this final shift, you must stop identifying yourself as the person who does the work. You must start identifying yourself as the person who builds the system. This is not a small change. This is a complete revolution in how you think about yourself and your business. The technician inside you has been in control for so long that this identity feels true. You are the baker, you are the plumber, you are the designer. This is who you are. Letting go of this feels like losing yourself. But this is the prison. This identity is what keeps you trapped. The truth is, you are not the work you do. You are the person who created a business. You are the entrepreneur, you are the architect, you are the designer of systems. This is your real identity. The work is just what you happened to be good at before you started the business. The work got you in the door, but building the business is the real job. Michael Gerber tells a story in the E-Myth Revisited about a woman named Sarah. Sarah was an amazing pie maker. People loved her pies. She decided to start a pie shop. At first, it was wonderful. She baked pies all day. Then the business grew. She needed to hire people. She needed to manage inventory. She needed to handle money. She tried to teach others to make pies her way, but nobody made them as good as she did. She worked longer and longer hours. She was exhausted. She was miserable. She was ready to quit. Then she had a revelation. She realized she was not in the pie business. She was in the business of building a system that makes pies. This changed everything. She stopped trying to make every pie herself. She stopped expecting others to bake like her. Instead, she figured out what made her pies special. She documented every detail. The exact temperature, the exact timing, the exact ingredients, the exact technique. She created a system. Then she trained others on the system. Not on her personal touch. On the system. At first, the pies were not as good, but she kept refining the system. She kept improving the training. Eventually, the pies were just as good as when she made them. Then they were better, because the system was more consistent than she ever was. Now she had a real business. A business that made perfect pies without her. This is the shift you need to make. You are not your technical skill. You are the person who builds the vehicle that delivers that technical skill to the world. Once you see yourself this way, everything becomes clear. You stop trying to do all the work. You start building the system. You stop being the technician. You become the entrepreneur. This is hard. Your ego will resist. Your identity will feel threatened. You will have moments where you think nobody can do it like you do. This is normal. This is the technician fighting for survival. Acknowledge the feeling, then do the work anyway. Build the system anyway. Train people anyway. Step back anyway. Over time, the new identity becomes stronger. You start to see yourself as a systems builder. You start to get excited about improving processes instead of doing tasks. You start to measure success not by how hard you worked, but by how well the system worked without you. This is freedom. This is the business you always wanted. Let me summarize everything. Your business will never give you freedom if you are the business. You must build a business that is separate from you, a business that runs on systems, a business where the entrepreneur leads, the manager builds structure, and the technician works within that structure. You do this by documenting everything, creating accountability, training your team, and enforcing the system. You test your progress by stepping away and seeing if it runs without you. This takes time. This takes discipline. But this is the only path to a business that serves your life instead of consuming it. The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber is not just a business book. It is a philosophy, a way of thinking, a framework for freedom. Most business owners will never apply these ideas. They will stay trapped. They will work until they burn out. They will blame everyone except themselves. Do not be like most business owners. Start today. Define your primary aim. Start documenting one system. Take the first step toward building a business that works without you. The life you want is waiting on the other side of these systems. Go build it.